the process of the exam?
Let me start with where an applicant starts, with
Okay.
the surveyor and training exam. I've been privileged to work some with the National Council for Examination of Engineers and Surveyors, which is headquartered in Clemson. They're the group that actually administer the surveyor and training exam for most of the states of the United States. A surveyor in Wisconsin takes the same exam that an applicant in Texas takes. The process is very rigorous in both examinations. There are studies, the PAC studies, the professional knowledges and skills type of study that takes place. And what that allows is for surveyors to say, this is what a surveyor must know, must be able to perform, the set of knowledges and skills in order to be an adequate surveyor. So the examinations are driven by surveyors across the country, and those are performed every 8 to 10 years. PAC studies are. And the NCAAS, I think, will soon be doing one, and then Texas will receive that part that applies to Texas for our examination study. Those are taken and are categorized and weighted as to the different areas of knowledge, and then they're depending on the most important areas of skills and knowledges, more questions pertaining to that will be on the exam. There's a couple of times a year there will be a survey examination workshop where surveyors come in from across the country, maybe 40 people, come in and actually work on the examinations. And it's a very hard working group, and they're divided into groups. Some may be actually writing items, some will be reviewing, some will be taking the examinations. And each examination is taken multiple times by surveyors before it ever gets before an applicant. And in order to identify problems, and just like what we're talking about as far as the difference between our meets and bounds in Texas and the public land system, that's an area that I, as a Texan, if I'm there, I try to pay attention that there's not something biased towards public lands, that, you know, something like that would throw, even though our surveyors have to have understanding of the public land system when they go take that SIT.
Right.
We try to make sure there's not regional biases, that sort of thing, that end up on an exam. We try to make sure there's not just trivia that ends up on an exam, that they are truly tested on valid concepts. And of course the SIT is a lot more towards the technical aspect, towards the mathematics and all of that set of knowledges and skills. It is very broad-based now because it's based on this person with this 4-year degree. So they may get a question on geology, you know, and it does matter as you as a surveyor are out identifying all these various aspects. All of these things come into play. So that process, once they get past that SIT examination, then in Texas they're required to spend at least 2 years working for under an RPLS and being in responsible charge. And once they satisfy the board, then they can take the state-specific portion. Now that exam comes about through the item writing committee, and there again, very diverse group will come together, and it needs to be diverse because Texas is so large. We have this semi-sectionalized West Texas area, our very broken up East Texas area with lots of trees, all this sort of thing. Panhandle's different than very far South Texas with the portions, with, you know, we are so diverse within our state. So we try to pull in geographically someone from all these different areas so you don't have regional bias going on. We try to get the very seasoned surveyors as well as the brand new people coming out to bring in this other perspective. You have to be very thick-skinned to be serving on those committees because you'll write a problem that you think is just great, and then that committee will just, you know, flail you and take apart your problem, you know, and point out all of the inconsistencies and all of this. And of course the goal has to be there again, to come back to making the applicant do proper application of case law precedent in Texas to arrive at a correct answer. On an exam, you try not to have a lot of judgmental stuff because it needs to be black and white. Either the person has an understanding or they don't. And it's hard to write those questions, so my hat is off to that group. From those questions, go into a bank, which then there's a quality assurance, quality control committee that deal with that. They'll put together exam, take those examinations, and they'll send them back to item writers saying, this isn't going to go. We think this is double key, so that'll be hashed over again. Then there's the cutoff score committee that takes it following an examination in order to do Angoff weighting on questions. And what I'm saying through everything I said is that this is a rigorous process from beginning to end. Lots and lots of volunteer hours go into it, skills and knowledges. We have psychometricians involved in the process throughout, so there's nothing fly by night in the process. It is all very done in a very adequate fashion to make sure. The ultimate goal, again, is to make sure that surveyor, as he comes out of there with that license, is ready and prepared to survey out on these multi-million-dollar pieces of land that he's going to walk out and start surveying.